Pokemon Sword and Shield's Isle of Armor DLC is unacceptable. Notice my vocabulary in that sentence. It's not that it's just bad or unenjoyable. It's unacceptable. This DLC feels like a slap in the face to every Pokemon fan, and saying I'm disappointed is the understatement of the century. For the first time, I am legitimately angry at Pokemon. And let me be clear, I am not a hater or a national dexer or someone who angrily replies to every tweet Pokemon posts. But this is just a video I have to make. However, as I am not a blind hater, I will begin the video with some positives. First of all, they have added in some features that streamline the raising of Pokemon. There's the Max Soup, which allows you to get Gigantamax forms for any Pokemon that has access to them. There's also an NPC that will reset your Pokemon's EVs so that you can raise them differently to fit your needs. This is certainly a step in the right direction because it eliminates a lot of the tedium from building competitive battlers. Over 100 new Pokemon have been added to this region, including a new legendary line, Kubfu and Urshifu. It's cool to see some new faces return, but it can also be argued that they should have already been in the game to begin with. Lastly, Mustard and Clara. These two characters were okay in their own right, but I'll get into them more later because they could have been much, much better. And that's really all the positives I have. Now, to show you what makes the Isle of Armor DLC unacceptable. I'm going to start with the Isle of Armor's main questline, the Dojo. If this DLC had a story mode, this would be it. You begin Isle of Armor with a battle against a new character, Clara for Sword and Avery for Shield, and we've reached my first issue already. You get to keep all your old Pokemon and items with no restrictions. I played Sword and fought Clara. She had a level 58 Venipede and a level 58 Slowpoke, and naturally, I slaughtered her. I've beaten the game and have fully evolved Pokemon. Why is that her team? Now, you could call this nitpicking if it were just for this fight, but with the exception of one battle in this entire DLC, every fight plays out like this. It's you walking around and destroying everything. And before you call me out, I know that there is level scaling based on how many badges you have earned, but why scale the levels if you aren't going to evolve the Pokemon in the battles? Even if they did evolve these Pokemon, it really wouldn't matter because these fights would still be child's play. So, the battles are lackluster. What else we got? When you enter the dojo for the first time, you get to meet a bunch of new characters. After a boring battle with Mustard, you get introduced to the main attraction of the dojo, the 3 trials. Keep in mind, this is the longest quest in the DLC, the main story of this expansion. You fight 3 Slowpokes, pick some mushrooms, and battle Clara like 3 times. Trial's done. This can be beaten in an hour. The lack of content is astounding. Keep in mind that this DLC model was supposed to replace the sequel games, and all we get is a couple of fetch quests and piss-easy battles? This wouldn't even be enough for a post-game mission, and yet it's an extra $30. Remember when Gold and Silver had the entire Kanto League in its post-game? In 1999? Also, the story itself just left zero impression on me. I feel like it could have been interesting if it was more fleshed out and gave us more time to get to know these characters, but it felt like they were trying to finish it as quickly as possible. Tool-assisted speedrun, Pokemon Isle of Armor story. Glitchless, any percent. Dude, I got here literally an hour ago. The only thing left to do is the Kubfu training and evolution. He can evolve into 2 different forms based on which tower challenge you complete. The tower challenge itself is a complete joke, and it sucks because it didn't have to be. Kubfu must be level 70 to come in here, and you just got the ability to travel with your Pokemon right before this. It's the perfect setup for some kind of trial-like puzzles and tough battles to strengthen the bond between you and Kubfu. That's part of the reason why Mustard gives Kubfu to the trainer who completed the trials, to break Kubfu out of its shell. What do we get instead? 4 battles with first evolution Pokemon. Except for Poliwhirl, but I still one-shot it anyways. Then a battle against Mustard's Kubfu before evolution. Now at this point in my playthrough, I was totally checked out and not paying attention, so I used close combat instead of aerial ace, and I lost because of the defense drops. No big deal, I'll just climb the tower and fight him again. Only in this instance, I have to fight all the other trainers again for no adequately explored reason. The entire point of this tower is proving that my bond with Kubfu is strong, so what does stomping a Meryl's head in for a second time accomplish in that regard? I don't think that's strengthening anything besides Kubfu's ego. Oh, so maybe Mustard wants him to become a Chad. I mean, you don't have to refight gym trainers if you lose to the gym leader, right? It's like they forgot how their own series works, and it feels like unnecessary padding. It just goes to show you how out of touch they are with the player base right now. So you evolve Kubfu into Urshifu, and now you can get his Gigantamax form. But hold on, Urshifu don't like that max soup taste, so you gotta go on a stupid fetch quest with Hop to get some honey. That's even more padded out with an escort mission as an added bonus. After you get the new max soup, the only thing left is a final optional battle with Mustard, where they finally did something right in this story. Mustard has the best battle in the game, and I actually lost to him twice and had to use my brain and strategize to beat him. And that's great, but this type of battle should have been happening throughout this DLC. I mean, I'm the league champion at this point. Give me some more challenges, bring in some old gym leaders and Elite Four members to fight, or hell, I'd even take a battle with Hop, which also doesn't happen in this DLC. My point here is, there isn't enough. Even if you complete all the side activities like the Diglett quest and Dojo enhancement and even catching every new Pokemon, this is still just the bare minimum. Sure, from a functionality standpoint, this DLC provides a bare bones Pokemon experience. But are we really satisfied with that? We shouldn't be, and if I know Pokemon fans, they are not going to be okay with this. And it's just sad to see this tragedy from one of my favorite franchises. But unfortunately, it's about to get even more sad. If there's one word that can be used to describe Isle of Armor, it's lacking. Lacking in content, lacking in story, lacking in charm, and it's certainly lacking in effort, especially from a visual standpoint. Sword and Shield has been under fire since it came out because of its poor graphics and visuals, but in the main game, it was something that I could look past, and even though they weren't great, there were still some impressive visuals in the main game, and most of the graphical issues weren't super noticeable if you weren't looking for them. Isle of Armor, on the other hand, is just pathetic in terms of visuals, and it's something I realized from the very start. It is so blatantly obvious that they didn't care about them. Dude, okay, come on, man. That looks awful. They couldn't have made a better effect for this cutscene. Come on, man. That's terrible. To get my point across, let me go over a few examples. The animations are stilted and robotic. It's like the characters are just learning to move. Hey, who put that Sonic Adventure footage in there? Yeah, good joke. Anyways, as I was saying. Oh no. Yeah, so the animation is not good. It already wasn't very impressive in the original game, but wow, is this just another level of bad? I mean, it's 2020. And this is a massive gaming franchise. This is not okay, but the animations are probably the least problematic visual issue, so let me move on to the environments. The big selling point of this DLC was that it was a massive wild area. I thought this was an awesome idea, because the wild areas in the main game were a cool concept that I thought had so much potential for expansion. But instead, we got more of the same. Bland beach area, bland plains area, and bland cave area. Copy and paste those 3 times and bam, you got the Isle of Armor. It's boring to look at, and despite the fact that it's about 1/8 the size of the original wild area, it's hard to navigate because everything looks identical. It just feels lazy. There's no color or landmarks or anything. I mean, look at this cave. There's nothing in here. It's just a big empty room with no personality. Even within this game, they got the caves right. Just look at Galar Mine. There's gems and minecart tracks and secret tunnels and stalactites. The caves in Isle of Armor don't even have rocks in them, dude. So that's disappointing, but the graphics and textures are where the lack of effort truly shows. This isn't a problem that requires careful analysis of every pixel and frame. This is something you'll notice early and often when you play Isle of Armor, just like I did when I was streaming. In fact, I think I'll let myself from the past explain some things. Take it away, me. Dude, there's not even a background. Yeah, this is I'm not liking the laziness so far. I was gonna say the same thing, that Tangela's model kind of looks shitty. I was thinking it, but I was like, maybe it's just me, man. Yeah, that's fucking... Oh, it looks way... Oh. Dude. Just look at the ground texture right here. Like, graphically, the original game wasn't good. Like, objectively. Like, I can say that. But this is worse. I mean, this cave, dude. This looks like Sonic 06. I'm like, seriously, this is literally the textures in Sonic 06. Pikachu. Look at that, dude. Look at the pop-in. Come on. Come on. Come on, man. Look at that.
I need a drink.
It's not like I'm looking for this shit, guys. That's just, that's so blatantly, that's just literally me riding around. Look at that. Look at that. You can't render that. It's 10 feet in front of me, and you can't render it in. I'm mind blown, dude. Lastly, before I finish this video, I want to take you back to the title of this video, and the reason I use the word unacceptable. Pokemon is one of the best-selling video game franchises ever made. It is a global phenomenon and has been for decades. They have access to the best resources a video game company can ask for. There is no reason, under any circumstance, that Pokemon should produce something like Isle of Armor. Something that so obviously had no effort put into it. The only explanation is their hunger to make as much money as possible while spending none of it to make the game better. I want to reiterate that I'm not mad because I just don't like the DLC. If it were based on creative decisions, I would be able to accept that. But my problem is that they didn't try. Corporate greed has infested the Pokemon Company in the last few years, and this DLC truly shows that. And you know what? They got me this time. But this DLC has driven me over the edge, and it's going to take something really convincing for me to jump back on board with new Pokemon games in the future. I make this video not to bash and hate blindly, but to inform you all about what you're purchasing. There's better stuff out there, guys, made with care and attention that you should spend your money on instead. Having said that, if you like this DLC, don't take this video as a personal attack against you. Keep enjoying the things you enjoy. I just hate to see a franchise I love treated this way, because Pokemon deserves better than this. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.